attention. What happened in Ukraine? Let's review some notable details. There's a secret operation that has shaken Russia, and 3 very important military officers were eliminated in Stavropol. This is an image that was being recorded exactly at the moment of the operation. That individual over there is one of the Russian military officers before the attack. Ukraine has confirmed the military intelligence operation on Russian territory, specifically in the Russian region of Stavropol in the south of that country. The attack is believed to have taken place on September 27, but it is only being reported now. In this town of Tembukan, it is reported that the Ukrainian Intelligence Directorate, the famous main directorate of intelligence, is believed to have launched this operation. The target was a moving vehicle carrying the Lieutenant Colonel of the National Guard in Russia, leader of the special group Avant-Garde, along with his assistant and the driver. All of them are believed to have been eliminated. The main Directorate of Intelligence statement claims that the attack took place when the Russian Lieutenant Colonel was on his way to a training camp. At that moment, the attack happened, and from what has been observed, here are some images showing the moment when they were being followed and stopped. There they are. According to what is mentioned, the main Directorate of Intelligence, Ukrainian Intelligence, and the collaboration of the Caucasus Liberation Movement. This suggests the participation of local forces in that Russian region who helped the Ukrainians. In other words, Russians who are in that area, who are rebels against the Russian government, who have been helping Ukrainian intelligence. That well is also noteworthy. It's not the first time that a group or movement, let's say internal Russians, are helping Ukraine carry out attacks against the military of Putin's regime. This operation joins other covert actions by Ukraine inside Russia since the conflict began, often aided by locals. Analysts point out that Ukraine is intensifying its efforts to strike at the morale and strategy of Russian forces, including beyond the borders. Actions frame this new move where the Avant-Garde group, as they call it, led by the eliminated Lieutenant Colonel, is known for special operations and its presence in specific conflict zones. In other words, the one who was eliminated was clearly an operator inside Ukraine. Although Russia has not issued an official statement so far, local media have begun to talk about a possible escalation in reprisals. The operation also highlights this vulnerability in internal areas of Russia. There is no intelligence capability to track these Ukrainian movements inside Russian territory, and that, well, also has Russian high command on edge. This isn't the first time it's happened, even during the day on public roads. Well, several times these high-ranking officials of the Kremlin's army have been attacked. Now, also, the presence of separatist movements or rebellious regional groups has been helping the Ukrainian cause, because in the end, they have the same enemy which is trying to weaken the Russian government. Another issue that also draws attention is that a very strong Russian drone attack hit a clinic and a hospital in Dnipro. According to reports, within these images that have been emerging from the affected area in Dnipro, it is known that they were Shahed drones. It is not known if it happened today, September 30th. There are already, authorities and rescue workers, firefighters and so on, who are monitoring the area. There are 2 injured people, although unfortunately one of them has already passed away, right? That's important too, isn't it? It happened in broad daylight. I mean, they were just relaxing in the afternoon. Usually attacks happen at night. Well, then, in broad daylight, there were people on the streets and suddenly the attack just happened. They weren't able to give the alert in time. The fact that it's an attack on a hospital and a health center has made Ukraine react. And for them to say that this is shameless, that it's an attack that shouldn't happen, that's what they say. The attack is absolutely shameless. During the day, it targeted civilian infrastructure. He says all injured people are getting the medical attention they need. Right now, rescue teams are still in the area. Municipal and emergency services have also been deployed at the scene. The Shahed drones, those drones made in Israel or Russia but with the same Iranian design, they would be the ones used on this occasion. International analysts believe that this type of attack aims to intimidate the civilian population and generate psychological pressure on them. That's good, also important. On the other hand, Greenpeace is exposing a key contradiction in European policy. 4 countries, pay attention to this, are involved with the war in Ukraine: France, Belgium, Spain, and the Netherlands. They are spending more on buying liquefied natural gas from the Russians. They have to support Ukraine. I mean, they are supporting Ukraine, but they are also buying gas and oil from Russia. That money is then used, against Ukraine. France, Belgium, Spain, and the Netherlands. They have allocated 34.3 billion euros for imports of Russian gas, while bilateral aid to Ukraine is 21.2 billion. So, the war is never going to end like this, right? The conflict won't end this way. Greenpeace's revelation is tremendous. These 4 countries account for 95% of gas imports. I mean, almost all the gas. If it sells to Russia, it sells it to these 4 NATO countries. Just imagine that. Greenpeace warns that these purchases mean that they are still indirectly funding Moscow's war effort. And that's also what Trump has criticized them for, what Trump has told them over and over again. Stop buying that gas from them because it's like giving them money so they can later attack you. This lack of gas traceability reaches the ports of France, Spain, and Belgium. And it gets redistributed, and the Russian origin is lost track of. This makes it impossible to clearly enforce the sanctions. This would be the change that the West wants to make now, to become more restrictive and stop buying this type of fuel from Russia. On the other hand, let me also tell you that Ukraine has just officially announced the beginning. Pay attention to this, pay attention to this topic. The beginning of arms exports to 4 regions of the world: the United States, parts of Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. President Zelensky announced this in a speech that took place yesterday. Yes, in a speech where he stated that they will obtain revenue from this, that Ukraine will be selling and making agreements with 4 regional platforms. He said, "We have agreements on 4 export platforms and the relevant agreements are being prepared soon." The announcement indicates this follows the General Technology Party meeting. It has been and will continue selling. Ukraine will be selling weapons to different parts of the world. That's what I'm saying. They've built an impressive weapons factory there. Actually, a series of large, fast, and effective factories. Now they lack enough weapons for themselves, even to sell to other countries. And with that, have a bit more money to keep defending themselves. Despite the growth, Zelensky admits discrepancies between actual production capacity and potential, estimating and acknowledging that they still have logistical and technical limitations. They're speeding them up, trying to, be more and more efficient, faster when it comes to producing this type of weaponry. That's how things are, right? Quite intense today, very, how should I put it? Very controversial in the sense that, there are a matter that doesn't stop being key, which is, at the end of the day, the way Russia is operating over Ukraine, right? A conflict that, is still ongoing, that keeps spreading, that continues to be a problem, and that, we will surely keep reporting on now. Also, just quickly, this is PP en Vivo, an international news channel. We're here every day reporting the details, the most important things happening in the world. Thanks for joining us. See you soon.